I am so insanely excited. So, howdy, everybody. My name is Marcus. I am, the eventual winner of all of this. So you may as well sort of get comfy. And what I've got here is the best choice to start off a sealed only series, Lost Sanctuary. Now, I know what everyone is going to say. You actually picked a starter deck from 2011 when everyone else is going to pick structure decks that are reasonable. But I actually don't think that this is a horrible choice. I'll try to get the whole thing in view here. What's actually really nice about this structure deck is it comes with a lot of goodies that we're actually probably going to be playing the entire time, and you can get a look at the list there. And we'll be sort of opening this here in just a moment. Strike down your foes with celestial fury. When the planets collide in battle, make sure you're on the winning side. With the entire solar system on your side, how can you lose? I couldn't agree more. I ordered these off Amazon, and what's crazy is that they're bursting at the seams to be opened. They came in sort of cracked like this. Did these used to come with this sort of cardboard? Who knows? But we're gonna go ahead and give these all an open, see what's sort of in here, and go from there. I'll just sort of open up the one, of course, because all three of them together, we kind of know what's in there. So we'll give this a nice little opening. Oh boy. God. Now these are such a treat. I am so excited to kind of get my hands on one of these to open up as my pack. We have sort of what do we got? We got the list in here. Oh, that's so cool. Sort of the list. I think this might actually be the strategy guide. Oh, it's going to tell us how to play the deck. Oh, that's so good. It teaches us what it means to remove from play. And, if you want some other decks that are sort of really good, maybe you should consider picking up Extreme Victory or, coming soon, Generation Force or the 2011 Tins. Oh my god. But so the thing is that Agents actually isn't a horrible deck. They actually won Worlds in their time. So it's actually not a bad deck at all, although it wasn't particularly like the most crazy deck. We've got, the Hidden Sanctuary. It's too big for me to even show here, but wow, that is so nice. Got a nice paper mat that we'll probably end up using because I think it's funny. We got the rule book here, the official rule book, by the way. I think if you actually look on it, it'll tell you this is version 7.2, which of course doesn't include anything past synchro summoning. You can even see here. No such thing as an XZ monster, no such thing as a link monster, no such thing as pendulum summoning. Sad Triff noises. Okay. So let's go ahead and open this up and see what's in here firsthand. That way we can maybe sort of explain my thought process as we sort of get through this and see, not only how this is kind of a good start, but also has a couple of good staples in here. So let's go ahead and take a peek. So we've got Master Hyperion. This is kind of our boss monster of the deck. He's pretty much the thing that we're going to be sort of relying on early on. He says that you can special summon him when you remove an agent from your hand. When you remove one from play from your hand, field, or graveyard, then once per turn, you can remove and play a light fairy monster from your grave, select a card on the field, and destroy it. So it's pretty nice spot removal. And if Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field, you can activate this effect twice per turn. So Hyperion, super good. Agent of Mystery Earth, she's the Searcher. You normal summon her, and you can add an agent from your deck to your hand, except for herself, of course. And if Sanctuary in the Sky is face up on the field, you can actually add Hyperion. The rest of the agents are kind of hit or miss on whether or not they're actually valuable, so we'll sort of go through them one at a time here. Jupiter is the one that sometimes gets played. Maybe we'll actually give this one a go as well. But this one is the 1800 attack. You can move from play an agent to select a light fairy that I control and let it boost. So it's kind of like the booster. And you can also recover the banished ones pretty well off of this one, as long as you have Sanctuary on the Sky on the field. So they all have sort of a nice boost, except for Venus, but we'll kind of get to that if Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field. Saturn, when your life points are higher than your opponent's, you can tribute this card and inflict damage to your opponent equal to the difference. Saturn probably won't get played. Maybe not. Who knows? Mercury, interesting one. This is the draw one, but again, whether or not it's actually going to be good enough to make the deck, we'll see. Now, Venus in, I think Shine Ball was right here as well, so maybe we'll just put these together. Venus is actually one of the really important ones because you can pay 500 life points to special summon a Shine Ball from your hand or deck, and here are the Shine Balls. For now, we're basically going to use those to sort of stall out our opponent, but as the weeks go on, if we decide to kind of, keep playing agents as we, go through the series, we can actually end up using these materials to link summon pretty reliably. Of course, Shine Ball is just a normal, but yeah, this is very distinctively not once per turn, so you can do it as many times as you want. If we have Mars here, it's unaffected by spell cards, which isn't really the most relevant effect. If you control Sanctuary in the Sky, it can gain attack and defense based on the difference between me and my opponent's life points. Very situational and probably just really bad. Splendid Venus. This one helps to say that the activation effects of my spell and trap cards can't be negated, which is actually pretty cool, but isn't really the best card, so it kind of depends. Tethys, when it's face up on the field and you draw a fairy, you can reveal one, draw one more card, kind of meh otherwise. Victoria is actually a really weird one, only based off of what other people are playing though. You can select a dragon type monster in your opponent's graveyard and special summon it to your side of the field, which is pretty bad, except it might actually stick around in the side deck for quite a while as we play, given the fact that you're somebody that's actually playing Dragon Link. We have Athena right here. Every time it's summoned, inflicts 600 damage to my opponent. Every time a fairy monster summon, I can inflict 600 damage. And then once per turn, I can send a face-up fairy to select a fairy in my graveyard to special. This is actually probably going to be, this is one of my favorite cards of all time, but this is going to be really good early on. And part of the reason why I chose this is because Marshmallow in the early weeks is going to be so good because that spot removal, that access to spot removal just kind of isn't there. So as you may or may not know, as you attack Marshmallow, it can't be destroyed by battle. And if it was face down, it'll flip face up and then your opponent takes 1,000 damage. So pretty cool. Hecatrice, you can discard this one. This is the Searcher. Helps to search out Valhalla, which is a really good spell, so we probably will end up playing this in some amount. Shining Angel, kind of like the Light Mystic Tomato, not too bad. Soul of Purity and Light, remove from play 2 light monsters to basically put out a 2k body, so probably not the best in our deck. Parshath, old classic Parshath. Again, whether or not we'll actually play this or not is to be seen, but not too sure. Nova Summoner, really good at summoning Parshath, but yeah, it's basically, it's actually funny enough, it is kind of a strictly better Shining Angel, so even if we don't play Parshath, we might play this guy, so we'll have to see. Zeradius, Herald of Heaven, this is the guy that we're going to end up playing a couple of, only because you can discard him to actually search out Sanctuary in the Sky, plus he's a level 4 with 2100 attack, so pretty good, nonetheless. Another reason why we picked this deck over others is Honest. We're going to go for the sort of, battle-y, gimmicky kind of deck because, with now a whole lot of access to spot removal, those sorts of things end up being a lot better. So Honest, I think, is actually going to end up winning us a lot of games in situations where we might not otherwise be able to pull through. Hanawada is really interesting. Outside of this, I actually don't have a playset of Hanawada, so it's nice to finally be able to say I own one. But essentially, you discard it and you make any effect damage, you take 0. So probably not good for us, but interesting card. This card is actually going to be one of the big reasons we do really well early on, and it's Consecrated Light, which is that neither player can normally special summon dark monsters or declare an attack with a dark monster. and it can't be destroyed by battle with a dark monster, and I take no battle damage from that dark monster. So this card, insanely good, really good at sort of stalling out our opponent early on, and there's a lot of ways to sort of cheesy, get this thing out on the board. So it helps kind of stall. Cards from the Sky, kind of draw support. Don't know if we'll actually see it. If anything, it'll be just this week, but maybe. Valhalla, once per turn, if you control no monsters, you can special summon a fairy. Definitely we're going to see this one in the deck profile. Terraforming, really good card as well. Of course, we're going to need this. This is another card that early on is going to be maybe something that we end up playing. Smashing Ground, just because we don't have that access to spot removal. Just having a Smashing Ground can do a lot, especially after if anybody else is just sort of setting up boards with a couple monsters on it. So, interesting card for sure. Sanctuary in the Sky, we're going to have to play this in some capacity. It's not really the best card because it only just sort of negates any battle damage we might take. But the real purpose is that a lot of our cards end up getting boosts when Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field, and it helps enable some other cards, and we've ended up getting 2 here in this structure deck. Could have just given us another card, but, whatever. It's not the only card that they've doubled up on, but you'll see. Celestial Transformation, special summon a fairy from your hand. Its attack is halved and it's destroyed during the end phase. Actually, really good card. Really nice at sort of cheating out some of the fairies that we might end up needing. Burial from a Different Dimension. Select 3 of our remove from play monsters and put them into the graveyard. Yeah, this isn't going to be particularly good for us. Mausoleum of the Emperor, kind of same issue. Maybe we'll end up playing it, but probably not. Solidarity is a fun card. Probably won't end up playing it because there are just sort of better versions of this card, but especially as you get later on. But definitely interesting to think about. The Fountain in the Sky, I don't even know if I know what this card does. If a light monster is destroyed by balance of the graveyard, you can remove that monster from play to gain the life points. Yeah, that's not gonna probably cut it. Now this is probably one of the better reasons to play this deck early on, is because we actually get a sort of Solemn Judgment style card as soon as we have Sanctuary in the Sky on the field. As long as we have Sanctuary Sky face up on the field, we can negate the activation of a spell card, trap card, or monster effect and destroy that card. And what's really nice is it just has to meet its activation condition. So Sanctuary just has to be on the field in order to activate. So pretty nice. Return from the Different Dimension, pretty cool if it wasn't banned. So I mean, it's what it is. Again, one of the reasons why we picked this deck early on is because Torrential Tribute is just going to put in so much work. And there's a lot of structure decks that have Torrential Tribute in it. But to have it really early on as one of our staples to kind of pull from for the whole sort of series, it's going to be really nice. Beckoning Light, sort of same situation, right? Discard all cards from your hand to the graveyard, then add the same number of light monsters from your graveyard to your hand. This can be kind of good. It just sort of depends. We might end up playing it, but most likely not. We'll just have to see how it ends up working out. This is the card I was alluding to. We got 2 Miraculous Descent. Thank goodness, because what does this card do? Select a fairy monster that is removed from play and special summon it. Yeah, that is, it's pretty meh. I think the idea is because you're going to banish a bunch of stuff off of Hyperion, so I think that's the idea, but I don't really see us getting that far in the game, so I don't know how much these cards are going to be worthwhile. We'll have to see. Of course, we're going to have a lot of extra space, so we're going to end up having to play some cards that we don't like. And this card right here, this card here, this is really 90% of the reason why we're starting with this is Solemn Judgment. Of course, Judgment, the ultimate Negati boy, the best Negati boy in the game, debatably. Having access to Solemn Judgment early and basically cementing it that we're going to have it throughout the whole series, no matter what we end up on playing, this is going to be fantastic. This card is just going to put in so much work. It's just not even fair. So just to have Solemn Judgment, and the fact that nobody else is really going to have Solemn Judgment unless they decide to follow our lead and get Lost Sanctuary, just having this card is really going to be helpful. So that's why we've got it here. So that's it. That's what's in here, and we will sort of bring it back here in a moment with what we land on to play. All right, and of course now we are back with the deck, and this is what we are going to be playing with. Now, of course, we're playing with a 2011 structure deck, so it kind of just is what it is, but we'll do what we can. I ended up digging out an even older paper playmat to sort of play around on, and you can just, you can see how freaking old this thing is. our fusion deck zone down here. So yeah, let's just take a quick look and see what we sort of landed on. So we've got in the profile, we've got 2 Master Hyperion, probably going to be our win con of the deck. Debated playing this guy at 3. The only issue with this thing is that when you play this card, he's kind of useless on his own unless you're going to tribute summon for him, which is essentially only viable with the Shine Balls. And at that point, if I have him and a bunch of Shine Balls on the field, I have Venus, so I can already sort of just use him. You know, if I see him without any of the agents, he's kind of useless. So that's why we only really want to play 2 of this guy. We're going to end up playing 3 of the Searcher. Now, the Searcher is really good if we have the Lost Sanctuary, because if we have the Sanctuary, you can search Hyperion, but otherwise she can just search out any of the other agents. Kind of not the best otherwise, but nonetheless, definitely going to be something that we end up using quite a bit. I end up playing 3 Venus along with 3 of the Shine Balls, pretty much going to be one of our sort of buffer engines that we play. It's an old deck, so we gotta play a lot of sort of chump block engines, and you know, this is part of the thing that we're gonna be doing, is just sort of like sending out these Shine Balls to sort of attack other people, or not attack other people, but kind of prevent the attacks from coming in. We're also playing 3 Marshmallow along with 3 Consecrated Light. These are kind of our stall cards. They just help bring the game to a halt. Consecrated Light probably more so than Marshmallow, but again, as I said in the deck profile, we're kind of banking that we're not going to be able to, that our opponent isn't going to be able to out multiples of these over and over again, and we'll just sort of see how true that ends up being. We also are going to play 3 Honest, which is going to enable us to play as well, even under our subpar boards. So Honest, really good card for sort of being able to do that. And honestly, I'm just sort of doubtful that some of my buddies are going to remember how to play around Honest. But we'll see what happens. We have Nova Summoner here. It's going to sort of tutor out some of the other cards from the deck, so it might be able to sort of tutor out a Marshmallow or something. Basically another copy of Marshmallow or Consecrated Light, whatever is more applicable to the situation. 3 Zeradius. This is essentially only in here to search the Sanctuary in the sky. However, it's also a nice little body if we already have one on the field. That's it for the monsters. On to the spells. We're not playing too many. We're just playing the 3 Sanctuary in the Sky and the 1 Terraforming, so that makes 7 ways for us to search the Sanctuary in the Sky. So it should be live most of the time. That's not really too big of a concern of mine. So we should be good on that front. And then I have basically, it's one of the only pieces of spot removal we even have in the deck, and that's 3 Smashing Ground. Essentially, it's our best way to get rid of a monster, pending all the sort of cards that we have. That's it for the spells. We didn't end up playing Valhalla just because the deck is so slow and the targets are kind of just so far and few that I just didn't think it was really worth it. On for the traps, we end up playing 2 Divine Punishment, 3 Judgment. Judgment is Judgment. Divine Punishment is Judgment with the exception of summons. It's actually debatably more like Strike in a lot of ways, except it does stop. It's a Strike on monster effects, but spell and trap cards, it stops as well. So this card can be really good. The only caveat is Lost Sanctuary or Sanctuary in the Sky has to be on the field. So that's the only issue with that card. But apart from that, you know, really sort of worthwhile and really nice. And then to round out the deck, we have 3 Torrential Tribute. And those will sort of help us deal with sort of some of the swarmier boards that we end up running across. Hopefully end up helping us control the game. You know, I don't know if the other guys are building side decks, but I guess I may as well just throw some cards out that I am going to hold off to the side. Hanawada, the Burn Preventer. Never going to use this, but hey, it's actually probably the, you know, it's probably the card that'll end up staying in the side deck the longest out of all these. Valhalla, right here. You know, it's not the worst, but it's really not good enough to make it in the main deck. 3 cards from the sky. This is the draw spell, which I'm thinking is probably not very good. And then Mausoleum as well. Again, it's kind of the same situation. So I'm assuming that all of these are really not going to be good enough to be playable, but we'll see. Maybe we'll end up going into them. So that's it for the deck. We'll end up seeing how good it ends up being.